Welcome back, X-Natives. You are still joining us live on channel 263, and we are also on the free-to-air platform as channel 32. Now, joining us on the yellow couch right now is the author of the Nudes book, Siyanda Kakana. Now, it is everything literature today, and if you did not know, now you know that the 8th of September is known as Literature Day. But we are here speaking about Siyanda Kakana's book, Nudes. Please tell us more about the author.
Well, Siyanda Kakana is, of course, the author of a Nudes book. On the book, about how she has suffered from low self-esteem, being fearful, and failed relationship with amadoda, abantu abangomama, and even herself because of emotional scars. On the book, she provides us with nothing but pieces of poems and prayers she has written over the past few years. Sounds amazing, right?
It
sounds
does,
like it's food for the soul. Well, Siyanda, welcome on the show. You look amazing, I must say. You look amazing.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling amazing.
Awesome stuff.
You look amazing. They say when you look amazing, you feel amazing. When you feel amazing, you
are
do
amazing.
amazing.
Thank you very
Well,
much,
Siyanda,
guys.
first of all, you hold a BCom degree from the University of the Western Cape.
Yeah.
I want to know, how does literature and accounting come together and produce a book?
They don't come together. Not at all. But with the writing, it's always been a part of me. Even the numbers side has always been a part of me. So I decided, why do I need to choose? Why can't I do both? You know, you can do two things that you love. I don't believe in choosing. It took me a while to realize that I do not have to choose between two loves.
Now, you did write a book.
Yes.
It's called Nudes,
Yes.
Addressing and Undressing My Truth. Please tell us more about, the title, because it sounds like it has a very deep meaning.
Yes, it does. Well, the reason I titled my book Nudes is because in my book, I am being bare. I'm stripping myself. I'm exposing parts of myself that many people don't know. So I'm vulnerable. I'm susceptible to judgment because I'm putting everything out there. It's raw. It's authentic. It's honest. So it's exactly like a nude would be like if someone would find a nude of me. And distribute it to, hashtag nudes.
It sounds like a book that you just let it out there into the universe.
Yes.
Must tell you, Siyanda, in the book, you tackle pain.
Yes.
You talk about the fact that you've lost self-worth.
Yes.
Can you tell me more about that?
You know, when I wrote the book, I came across some journals that I kept over the years because I've always been a person who writes to express myself, to deal with anything that I'm going through. So I read some pieces and I was like, hey, this is actually quite good.
Beautiful.
You know, I was actually surprised myself by some of the stuff that I wrote. And I saw that I have a story to tell. And I took some of old pieces I had, I wrote some new, and I decided to tell my story of living in a time where, for about 3 or 4 years in my life, my father was physically abusing my mother and emotionally abusing my mother. And during this time, he also abused me. So usually when we talk about domestic violence, we usually forget the effect that it has on the children witnessing the abuse. And even though the situation ended, the aftermath, the effects, you carry that with you. And it's those emotional scars that affect you going forward, So as I grew up then, after it had ended, after my mother finally found the strength to leave that situation, I still struggled with my self-esteem. And my perception of men wasn't the greatest. It's still a work in progress. And in my book, I also say that I struggle to have healthy relationships with men because of the past and because of what I've seen. And sometimes I am a tad bit, emotionally abusive myself, which is something that I had to acknowledge and ask myself, what is the root cause? And I found that everything stemmed back from that. And I was projecting and I was acting out all the anger that I had kept all the years to people that I was involved with. And I would be angry at men. And if any man showed any sign similar to my father, I completely lost it. I was like, no, I'm out of here. You're just like my father. I'm gone. Which is unfair to judge one person based on your experience of another. And the one reason I also wrote the book is I believe we need to end the cycle of abuse.
Most definitely.
And as long as we keep sweeping these issues under the carpets, we are indirectly breeding the next generation of abuse victims and abusers. Because what we forget that an adult man that is abusive was probably once a boy.
Exactly.
Raised in a home filled with abuse. But we usually just see the surface and never the root cause.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because I also came from a situation when I both experienced and witnessed
Yeah.
it, the chances of me also ending up in the same situation are also high.
Yeah.
Because in your mind, it becomes normal.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
find yourself in the same situation. You don't really see it because you saw it as a normal thing in your
Yeah,
life growing
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
So here you are repeating the same cycle, also in another abusive relationship with another man,
Yeah.
maybe a boyfriend or a husband, because you were taught initially to accept
Yeah.
indirectly,
Yeah.
to see it as normal.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the relationship with my father, they say that for a daughter, a first relationship with the man is your father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he set the standard. So when I learned to put up with his behavior, I'm indirectly learning to put up with the next man's
Yeah.
bad behavior.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
understand? So I could easily end up in an abusive relationship and not even see it and think, no, it's love.
I can tell just by
Yeah.
you describing, what are some of the things that's in this book, that it must have been quite an emotional
It
journey
was,
Yeah,
it
journey.
was.
for you. And I'm sure that the book will tell you guys everything that you need to know.
Yes.
Now, as a first-time author, I'm sure that you had, a few challenges, penning the book. And take us through some of those challenges. What was it like? How was the support?
Well, I first had to conquer my fear.
Yeah.
And we are our greatest enemies most of the time. And I had to fight through every negative thought that was telling me not to do
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
And I cried through many of the pieces that I
Yeah.
wrote through because I had to face up to things that I didn't want to acknowledge.
Yeah, yeah.
When it comes to pain, you just want to push it aside. You want to pretend it didn't happen. You don't want to face the guilt or the shame that
Yeah,
you feel.
yeah.
But I had to revisit certain moments, refeel,
Yeah.
the emotions and bring myself to that place again so that it can be raw when I write it and
Yeah.
feel exactly what I felt. So that fear of putting it out there
Yeah.
and overcoming the fear of judgment and what
Exactly,
will
yeah.
people say
Yeah.
Yeah.
and what if no one supports me.
Yeah.
But I felt as though the message I had to bring was greater than that
Yeah.
fear. So I pushed myself through it.
And man, what a book.
I'm sure this book should be read more by women and men as well.
Yes.
And your target market is like young ladies out there.
Yes.
Sometimes people stay in a relationship that's abusive because they come from a home that
Yes.
is like that. Why is it
Yes.
so important for you as a young woman who has indirectly faced that situation to speak to all the sisters and the kids at home through
Yeah.
this book?
Because it has to end. It's
Yeah.
enough. Too many women are dying, and too many women are putting up with ill treatment. And I feel as women, when we discover our worth, that's when we can really move away from
Yeah.
that situation. When you don't know your self-worth, you accept everything.
Yeah, definitely.
You
True.
tolerate everything.
Yeah.
And you cannot see when you do not deserve something. Everything that comes your way, you feel, oh, well.
You settle for less.
You
do,
know,
eh?
you know what I mean? So I just want women to realize that we deserve more.
You definitely deserve more.
We
You deserve
deserve
a
more.
whole lot more.
Yes.
Now, for the viewers at home who would love to get their hands on a copy of this book, where can they actually find the book?
It is available online in both ebook format and
Okay.
hard copy on Amazon.com.
I know you have an amazing extract to read from the book.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, can you please?
Sir.
Our researchers read the whole entire book and then they find an amazing extra and they had to.
This extract is actually from an extract called Pieces in the book. Well, it says, I struggle to have a healthy relationship with men. I am both filled with violence and rage and absolute fear towards them. I want to love a man without being taunted by fears that he'll become just like my father. A man who will abuse me and our kids.
Yeah.
Please tell us more about that.
It goes back to what I said from what I witnessed as well growing up, that you see someone changing before your very eyes, because when it came to the relationship my mother and my father had, he was not always that way. It was only when I was about 10, 11 years old that he started becoming a bit more controlling, a bit more jealous. And you see these things and you watch and you wonder. And then, so when you see that, you then think, what if I also end up with the man
Exactly.
who in later years will change
What's the
and
song?
and start acting in a
Yeah.
different way? Will I be able to escape that? Will I be strong enough? But I think now that I've identified, you know,
You are stronger.
You
I'm
are
stronger.
stronger.
My eyes are open.
Most
Well,
definitely.
your book is, I feel like everybody needs to get this book.
Most
Sounds
definitely.
amazing. But before we leave to the break, I have a quick extra with another one to read from the
Another
book.
one.
It says, I'm burdened by my vagina. I feel like I feel like a walking target. Nothing makes me feel more uneasily and uncomfortable than walking past a group of men. Whenever I notice them watching me as I walk and I see them whispering to each other, I secretly wish I could read their minds, but then yet again, I do not want to hear any of their perverted thoughts. I usually walk away from them, composed, pretending to be undisturbed by their glancing and whispering. How I long to walk down the street without the fear of being abducted and raped.
Wow.
Yo,
Wow.
Such
So deep.
powerful words. Well, Siyanda,
So
thank you
deep.
so much, man. And I hope
Thank you for
millions of South
welcoming
Africans
me.
are going to go out there and buy
Most
the book.
definitely.
But right now, we're taking a quick breather, and when we return, there's lots and lots of goodies in our pockets. To make sure you stay tuned, this is XA. We'll be right back.